Andy Ogles with us, and senior political analyst, former senator from Pennsylvania, former presidential candidate, senior advisor to the Convention of States, Senator Rick Santorum. Welcome in. Great to see you both.
Thank you.
Here we have Doge, Elon Musk, Vivek are going to talk about cutting down debt, federal government spending. Trump is putting this out, and he says that work outside the government to dismantle bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, restructure federal agencies. He says these are two wonderful Americans. From where you sit, Congressman Ogles, what's the reaction to this shakeup? Because there are some people who maybe have been participating in a lot of grift.
Well, I think what you've seen under the Biden administration is an absolute destruction of our economy and our place in the world stage. And part of the problem is the indulgence of our budget, and it's got to be cut. And to have such critical thinkers as Vivek and Elon tackling this project, there's a precedent there to have a committee like this. You had the Byrd Committee, which was a bicameral committee. And so again, kudos to the president for kicking off that conversation and looking for ways to cut the budget and save our country.
So, Senator Santorum, is it a conversation, or can you put this plan into action?
Well, as Andy mentioned, there have been previous commissions, Simpson-Bowles. I mean, there's a whole bunch of these types of commissions that have looked at how we can do something about the waste and efficiency of government and government spending. The big difference here is, number one, how the president is thoroughly behind this. And even as important, maybe even more important, is the fact that Elon Musk and to some extent Vivek Ramaswamy, but really Elon is the guy that has the following across the country, really the world, to bring attention to these things and to drive these things and to build public support behind these things. These other commissions were more intellectual exercises that created documents and were filed away.
Right, yeah.
This is one that has a chance of really pushing it into the mainstream.
There's already an X account for it, so it's already got 1 million followers if you're talking mainstream.
There
you go. All right, Speaker Johnson spoke to our Rob Finnerty last night, talk about the slimming House lead. Let's play a little bit of this exchange.
Well, I'm concerned. I've been talking with President Trump about this daily. He knows the margin is tight as well. And I said, Mr. President, I know we have an embarrassment of riches here. We have lots of talent in the Republican conference, but enough. You think you hit your quota now. You need to leave the rest of them here so we can get the job done and deliver on this agenda. So he gets that.
Congressman Ogles, your thoughts on that? And also, you just lost another one. Matt Gaetz resigned yesterday. He's picked for Attorney General.
Yeah. Well, when the president came and spoke before the conference, the Republican conference, he mentioned that he might snag a couple of others, but that he would stagger them. And so as we go forward, there is a lot of talent in the House, in the Senate, and I think it's natural for the president to look to individuals who have supported him, who he knows, he trusts, they have a track record. And Matt Gaetz is a pit bull. He's someone that's going to fight to restore justice, because you've seen the weaponization of the Justice Department against the President Donald Trump, against the American people. And so you have a president who's going to make it a priority to restore the Justice Department to its storied history and to truly make justice blind again.
Senator Santorum, can he get through the confirmation process, Matt Gaetz?
It'll be tough. He's been a pit bull, but pit bulls don't have a lot of friends, because they can be pretty aggressive, and so he's burned a lot of bridges, including the former Speaker of the House and many others. So it's going to be tough, and there's a process that he'll go through. There'll be hearings, and we'll wait and see how he survives them. I mean, give everybody. I think everybody's willing to give him a chance, but I suspect there's going to be a barrage of negative stories between now and then, and we'll see how he survives them.
People were pointing back to other, AGs, and Eric Holder's one that comes to mind. Congressman Ogles, do you think he'll make it through the confirmation process? And if not, who else would you like to see in that very important position?
Well, I think there's always the opportunity, if necessary, for the president to do a recess appointment. He's hinted at that.
Yeah.
He wants Matt Gaetz, and I think he'll fight for Matt Gaetz. Now, if you were going to move to the next person on the list, Senator Mike Lee is a brilliant mind, someone who would be fantastic in the job. I would hate to lose him in the Senate, but I know he's on the list as well. So again, riches of talent in both the House and the Senate, and so whoever the president picks, we'll support. And I think a recess appointment may be what happens with Matt Gaetz as we move forward.
Trump did post that on Truth Social. Go ahead, Senator.
Yeah, just to comment on that, I don't see that as a real likely path forward. Because senators don't like recess appointments. They like to have to be consulted on those things, and there's a way for the Senate to stop a recess appointment, and that is don't recess. Recess appointments were really there, and historically, for when the Senate was not in session for long periods of time. So recess, for months at a time. Really, it goes back hundreds of years to when the Senate was out of dozens of years at least, when the Senate was out of session for long periods of time so the president could govern. It wasn't meant for the Senate today, and in fact, it has not been used very often unless there's really consent by the Senate to do it.
That's true.
And I don't think there's going to be consent. If he doesn't have the votes to pass, he won't have the votes for the Senate to go in recess, which means there won't be a recess appointment.
We will watch that closely. I have about 20 seconds. Senator Santorum, real quickly, this recount in Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick is leading Bob Casey. I hear it's costing like $1 million to recount these provisional ballots. What gives in our final 20 seconds here?
We have election denier in Bob Casey. There are 29,000 votes. There's maybe 40 or 50,000 votes left. And even if he gets 75% of them, which he won't, because Philadelphia's already been counted, he can't win. He cannot win this race. And what he's doing is costing the taxpayers of Pennsylvania money. But what he's doing is funding his buddy, Mark Elias. He's out there raising money on this Pennsylvania recount so they can go out and attack, do more left-wing things and undermine election integrity in our country.
I've heard if he fought this hard, he would have kept his job. He's fighting harder now than he did when he was in the Senate. So we're out of time. Great to see you both. Senator Santorum, Congressman